Hey.
What's up, Richard?
Uh, I guess actually I've been playing a game called Baby Steps about hiking up a mountain, but you have to like lift and balance each foot. I don't know if you heard about or saw
I think you talked
that
about it
game.
before.
Oh yeah.
I remember something about climbing the
Yeah,
mountain.
I played it I played it a lot more and it's pretty well done. Well paced and well designed.
Oh, cool. I've been
Uh,
sloughing around for the last day or so, watching some anime and just chilling.
oh yeah. What
Yeah,
anime?
I like the types that when protagonists are summoned to another world.
Is that
My
a
favorite.
genre? Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a genre, man.
Huh. What typically
Overlord.
does the summoning?
You don't really figure it out until later, and then sometimes you never figure it out.
Like say in like episode 1, do they find themselves in a different world immediately?
Yeah, there's a little bit of
Oh yeah.
backstory, like.
Hmm.
But yeah, normally the first episode, the change happens.
I don't know if it counts as anime, but there's a show called Scavenger Reign where these people are stranded on an alien world and all the flowers and everything can be like it has some practical purpose. Like you can there's some plants that you can like hover with them or other plants where if you like place like a certain seed into them, they perform some kind of function that could be useful. And you can like chain together all the plants and everything to like they're trying to basically repair their ship using like random plants that they find with different properties. But there's also animals that like take over your mind and stuff, and uh, there's all this weird stuff going on the planet. I only
That's a
watched like
game
maybe
or a
one or two
show?
episodes. Show. Yeah, I think it's one season, maybe 5 episodes.
It's a
And
cartoon?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's like hand animation, I guess.
well,
Yeah,
that's anime.
yeah,
Sounds awesome. I'm
yeah. It
excited to
was
get
kind
it.
of. I think there's like a pilot episode, and then the full season, and the at least in the pilot, they kind of have like a full cycle where it starts with them doing this like very like obscure set of steps to like make like catch and transform and work like all these different plants and animals and stuff, and then in the end they sort of accomplish some kind of goal that uh brings them like closer to home, I guess. And then in the actual season it starts off slower. You sort of there's like several characters that their spaceship like crashed in orbit and they all got separated. There's like one that's in a pair, and then each of them are engaged in different like struggles in different places on the planet, making use of like their environment to accomplish different things. But yeah, I never only watched like one episode, and then I found it like quite like heavy. Like there's a lot of it really makes you like think and wonder, and uh, it's very like it's like a high. I felt like not very relaxed watching it. I felt like there's a lot going on here, and I don't know if I'm ready for like episode 2 or not.
Sounds great. My kind of show, man.
And so then I don't know. I guess they're. It seems like the people are from Earth, and this is like a very strange alien world. I don't know if that fits into your category of like in a different world. Are you talking about like
Okay.
fantasy worlds or something, or different dimensions in your
Yeah,
in what you're talking about? Yeah.
but it's shit happening on a different planet. It's a different
Oh
kind.
yeah.
It's like survival genre, which is also very cool.
Yeah.
I also just like space in general. Yeah, no, I've been enjoying lots of anime. It's I don't know. I find it better than the real stuff.
Right. Yeah, it is super. Some worlds and stories are so compelling. There's been stories and stuff that I've read before at certain times when you just really feel a very strong pull and you just kind of really want to spend more time in the universe. And like sometimes like the book ends and it's sort of a sad thing, or the book or the show ends and like You just feel like, oh, I want to go spend more time there. And I wonder if there's stuff like transcendental meditation, whatever that is, or like being you can do like mindfulness or though that kind of meditation where you like walk through a very like clearly envisioned thing. That stuff seems like kind of cool if you took fans of a certain show or genre and you led them on like a meditation where they like imagined themselves as characters in the universe and like a day in the life of that universe. That would be kind of a fun activity because it's like a way of feeling a connection to the universe, also practicing meditation, but in a way that's like a goal that is very obviously desirable.
Hmm. What I'm finding is it's a lot of the main character starts off like kind of weak and confused, unless it's Overlord, and then he's OP from the beginning. But they're usually trying to figure things out. And what I enjoy about it most is they have all this power. Most of the protagonists do. There's one that where they're just basically human, which is RE0. But basically, they end up building a community. They realize that as an individual, they're weak and that they need the help of others to become strong. And so they build a community and they attract others, people who have different abilities and strengths because of either their own power or their sheer willpower. So they're either like actual ability to destroy shit or their ability to just be perseverant. And that's what I like about this. It's sort of like they're building a community for whatever the mission is, but it's I don't know. I don't know if that just sort of resonates with most people. I know it does for me because I'm seeking community and really want that. But I imagine that would resonate with most people.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like in real life we don't have enough of a hard obvious thing to rally around to trigger the strong formation of community that we'd want. It often feels like not enough there's not enough like obvious uniting challenges to face to make it obvious to everyone that we need to form like cohesive teams and rely on each other. It's like too easy to just get by on our own until we realize that there's something like missing. And that's an interesting problem. Like I feel like society has to kind of make it like socially necessary. Like everyone should have like an objective given to them that they decide on, that they decide to accept, like sort of from an external thing, or else, yeah, it's sort of it just feels like nothing's really like that's almost like a science that we don't have yet. Is like humans taking on tasks that feel bigger than themselves for no reason other than just for something to do. We sort of only identify some things as like challenges worth taking on, and it's kind of arbitrary though, like what fits that. It's just like whatever, sort of like a country politically decides or hands down, or if, like if there's a war that starts, then that sort of demands our focus. But we never like explicitly invent a challenge for the sake of a challenge. We always have some kind of like greater social structure that we believe is important that defines it. But it would be cool to just create like a framework where we can just decide on arbitrary objectives and go after them instead of like waiting around for whatever, like doing more reaction to whatever shows up. I guess kind of video games actually, maybe video games are that. They create like community. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much they are.
Yeah, the ability to level up and strengthen yourself, but with the end intent to take on harder content with others. And I mean, there are some RPGs where it's like some of the original ones where you're just your own character, like Dragon Warrior, the original, comes to mind.
Mm.
And you're just, you're pretty weak and feeble, and you start beating slams with a stick, and then eventually you're taking on the Dragon Lord. But yeah, it seems like a lot of the times, like even with games that are not online, you get other characters to help you in some way. No, I'm thinking of RPGs mainly, but Elder Scrolls Online comes to mind too, because it's like you start off, the game's it's too balanced. That's my problem with it. Is that like even when you first start off, you can take on some stronger monsters, and you shouldn't be able to. You should be fucking weak. If you don't have any level, you shouldn't be able to hold your own. But they balance the game, and then as you get stronger, you need to get stronger armor. And if you don't have stronger armor, then you get weaker defense, weaker offense. I think they're changing that, but I think it should be if you get a level, you get stronger. But they stop at a certain point where you max out your stats, and then you can move your stats around depending on the role that you're doing. But that means that I don't know if it's like level 1300 is where you become as strong as you can be. But then there's 3600 levels. Those are how many stat points that you can get. So that game, I think, is limited, overly balanced for the casual player, when really I want to see it become like you get that level, you fucking earn that level, and you become stronger. Yeah. Or people have made it to level 35 or 3600. I've seen a few of them. But I mean, they play every day. They're dedicated. And there's no extra bonus for it. They just have the level. It doesn't fucking matter. They don't have to pay 5,000 gold coins to move around their stats. And I think 5,000 gold coins is nothing in that game. So there's really no incentive to continue to level up because you get topped up. Because otherwise, if you become too strong, then you can just burn through the mechanics of a raid. Which, frankly, I think you should be able to get that powerful. I think they should make it difficult, but if you have a group of 12 people who are like level 3000 each, you should be able to fucking rip through a dragon. There shouldn't be capped. But anyway, yeah. Video games are one thing. They're a wonderful escape. Some people, that's all they do, sadly. But
yeah, it would be cool if there was more of a way to connect games to real life. Different people like made attempts. I think Pokemon Go is maybe the attempt that got the furthest, where like you have people going physically outside to play Pokemon Go. And from what I understand, I never played it, but there's like gyms where you can leave your Pokemon in a gym with other players, and there's some kind of like asynchronous. You can send like messages to other players that grant them items and stuff. So there's some kind of like benefit to having a social network and cooperating maybe with players like in an asynchronous way in Pokemon Go, which is kind of doesn't really make anyone better, I don't think, but it does make you maybe feel like other people matter and they're part of the game.
Cool idea.
Yeah. And then there's another one called there's this thing called like Habit RPG, which is just like it's like a task management app where you set yourself like to-dos and recurring, like say you want to work out or something on a regular basis. But then every time you meet your own goal, you get like experience or whatever, and you can do stuff, you can level up with experience. And it basically simulates like you have an RPG character and they have a level and they have equipment, and you can even like fight a boss, quote unquote, like in the game, which means like do a certain number of habit, like whatever your habit goal is, do that like enough times in a short amount of time to like reach a certain amount of time spent like working out, and then you've like beaten the boss. Or I think it's like groups as well. But that's like kind of loose. Like it's just like a task management app that sort of gives you the illusion of experience. But and you set your own goals. But it is kind of interesting. Like what if like I don't know, some company or something organization could set like an external goal and like put money behind it, and then say like you and your friends could divvy up and complete like the task, whatever it was, like form certain habits, and then you would be like beating a challenge together and getting some reward. It could even be like a monetary reward or something.
That's called a job.
But that would be kind of it would be neat if that was
Richard,
like,
that's a
say that
job.
was yeah. Well,
Yeah, you get
I feel
volunteer
like
reward
if
for doing a particular project or task as a team. Yeah, it sounds like work.
I
I'm
was
good.
envisioning like a positive. I feel jobs are just the bad version of this.
Yeah, well, because we're just making someone else rich. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like just I guess it's basically just like I guess that's the thing is like society decides that jobs are a certain thing and worth a certain amount. But if we just all decided like jobs included all these other aspects of being a full human being as well, and then we rated ourselves and like expected ourselves to be better on those metrics, uh that would be nice. Like that would just be nice. Like if there was always a push that one felt by the rest of society to become closer to like the ideal that I don't know, like hopefully they would want to be, or they would want everyone to be, and people could like like everyone would always just sort of be like working on some aspect of themselves in a way that like if they just felt like it's important to grow because that's what's expected, or even if it came down to just like more points to be earned, or you could get like if you met like your own physical goals or something, you could get a bonus at work or something, like if things were all tied together.
Hmm. I think as North Americans, we
Yeah.
think way too much about this shit. I do wonder if other people throughout throughout the planet spend this kind of energy thinking about different things, or ways rather to
Yeah.
improve our quality of life or have purpose. I do wonder if that's a human thing where we need to have purpose. We need to feel valued, which is a programmed thing, to be accepted among the group. Because there are creatures, I don't know why I use that word, but there's animals out there that they don't really need others. If anything, they don't really tolerate others because they have territory. But yet for us, we're sort of like a herd animal. We need to be around other people for sure. So I do wonder how many people are out there wondering about this kind of stuff, like purpose and coming together with others to produce something. I mean, North America, I don't know if it's intentional. I'm pretty sure it is, but making us all individuals, it's in. I've talked about this before. I'm sure it sort of like starts in the household where everybody gets their own room and they have their own space and they're their own person. And it's sometimes kids don't even contribute to the family unless there's chores. So it's capitalism right from a young age. It's like if you do the dishes, if you clean the table, if you take out the garbage, you get an allowance. It's and that's like ingrained. That's like passed on down the generations. Where it's like, no, just contribute to the fucking family. Like you shouldn't always expect a handout like from doing something. And I think it's affecting us within our own homes and the way we think. Everything is transactional. It's all about what we can get, which is a damn shame. And I think it's done that way intentionally because as individuals, we're conquered by the banks. We can't get as far in life financially. It's easier to live in a household with a bunch of like-minded people and pay down the mortgage with 5 different incomes than it is 1 or 2. And that's what I'm pretty sure the Indian families are doing. They come to mind because in Scarborough, I see a lot of families there doing that. Now, I don't necessarily agree with everything with their culture, but that makes sense at least.
Yeah, I guess some of it could be like of necessity, but also, yeah, I feel like it comes from a place of necessity. And then if enough people in a culture are like doing something out of necessity, like eventually it works out and they end up with enough money where they all could say have their own house. But then it becomes like a cultural identity, and then it's just like more like, even though they could afford to live in different places, they all, maybe they buy a slightly bigger house and live in it because
We
that's
truly,
become like what they want. Yeah.
we truly are locusts. We are a fucking parasite, Richard. Because in my mind, I see this. I see we need a struggle to unite us. And then we become united and we overcome the struggle. And if things are destroyed, we rebuild, we create community. And then as we create the community, we continue to grow that community and we grow. And I see in my mind, whether it be from different shows and how, like, it's sort of like the ending of the show after the climax, but nice sunny weather and everybody's happy and everybody continues to build and continues to grow and continues to harvest and plant and harvest and grow and expand from a village, town into a city until the fucking concrete jungle slash prisons that we have. It's we are locusts. We are a fucking parasite of this planet because of the fact that we can grow and stay together in such large numbers thanks to our made up systems, thanks to religion, our common belief in the same thing makes it so that we can trust each other beyond the number 150. And unfortunately, because of the cognitive revolution, now we are a pest. We are locusts. And it saddens me because it's nice to build something, it's nice to create something, but we just don't know how to stop. We have to learn how to be content with what we have. And I'm finding most people I come across are not content. And so they busy themselves with work or they cope. But they're always seeking or pursuing happiness when happiness is not something to pursue. It's just a state of mind and acceptance. It's when you realize you have enough. But I even see within myself wanting more. I have everything that most people would want. I can retire at a young age with somewhat of my health still, and yet I see myself wanting more at times. I yearn or I envy what others have. I see a big house on the mountain. I'm like, well, that'd be nice to have. Or like a Lamborghini goes by, an SUV. I'm like, well, that'd be nice to have. And yeah, maybe I could buy that. But it's just the fact that I see it and I'm like, well, now I kind of want that. Then if that happens so too much and so often, we can lose appreciation for what it is that we have and then continue to seek other things to fulfill ourselves. And I think most people will get lost with that. And I think that's what drives capitalism. It's our continual greed and need to consume because of our inability to appreciate what we have, which I think is because we don't have hardship, not real hardship here. Hardship makes it so that we appreciate the good times. We need to have a balance. And I think this is why so many cultures or people have a hard on for balance, yang yang, for instance, because without it, greed can take over if things are too easy. We just keep wanting more. But then I guess on the other side, if all we experience is suffering and misery, well, that's not really an existence either, is it?
Yeah, the wanting more thing is something. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's so weird. Because sometimes it's like society is designed to deliver us more, and sometimes there's moments where you almost have to like kind of take like you have to sort of like go against the current and like turn stuff down, and people like it's like it's sort of a strange thing where people don't uh yeah, people sort of don't understand what you're doing when you're trying to like get away from the never ending chain of new stuff.
Yes. The
Because
never
that's
ending.
I guess that's a good question. Yeah, is like say someone does have a Lamborghini, they would have to see like they would have to identify that like not having a Lamborghini is an opportunity, and then they would have to like get rid of their Lamborghini and convince the people around them that that was actually like a step toward like quote unquote having more, like getting rid of something like. But it's sort of like, how do you put that into words, right? Like they've given themselves the opportunity to not have a Lamborghini and the ability to want one and not have one, which like it's hard to remember that that could be a better state than like having the thing itself. A lot of people would not understand, how like not having a thing is could be like a higher state or something. Because they would say like just have one in case or just like leave it in the garage. But it's sort of like that's not, it doesn't really work, You have to sort of either not have it or have it. And you can't just like kind of have it there in just in case or something.
Well, if you have it there just in case, then you're going to have it. But,
Yeah.
What we trade for all of our possessions and all of our things is our freedom. Think about it. Every time you own something, it owns you. You have to take care of it. It holds a space in your mind. And it's part of the inventory, the mental inventory that you hold. Some people have so much stuff they have no idea what they have. I can tell you exactly what I have and where it's located in my home because I have what I need and that's it. But there's some people that have so much stuff they don't even know. They have no idea what they have. They become buried by their stuff. It imprisons them almost. It's a weight that they carry, and they don't realize it. It drains them as well. We don't realize it, but as we look over things, we process it. We register it in our mind. We may not actually be conscious of it, but it does take energy. And when you hoard and you pile stuff up and you look over it, it drains you. I've experienced it personally in my family home. But yeah, it's our possessions own us. Our assets enslave us. And I've been trying to break away from my assets for a little while now. Like I just got yesterday, my entire afternoon was occupied because of a plumbing issue
Oh
that
yeah.
happened in the States. Yeah. Oh, this is a new issue. So in total, over the span of 3 months, I've spent $2,000 American on plumbing issues, and I'm like, it. In all of my life, I have never seen so. I've never had so many. I've never had any plumbing issues in my life. One time,
Yeah.
I had my water line let out in the basement because it got too cold or something. But luckily, the insurance didn't realize it. That was my fault. But that was it. I have never heard of my place. I'm here in BC. No clogged toilets. How are people clogging the fucking toilets? Like when I had a tenant in here, I had like the toilet clogged 4 times in a year. What are they putting down there? And why aren't tenants responsible for clogging the fucking toilet? It doesn't make any sense. Why am I paying for this shit? And now it's like the cartridges of the sink have to be replaced. A bloody sink, a little repair, $600 American. And they had to do it twice because they had to replace the cartridges on the hot and then they had to replace it on the cold. I'm like, are you fucking mad? This is insane. This is an insane amount of money for a simple job. And so my entire afternoon was taken because people try to take advantage. I call it milking. I actually used the term milking in the fucking email that I wrote. I was like, you're not giving me an itemized quote or invoice. It says fixing plumbing and fixing light fixture, $630 American. No, that's not how this works. And I've already told them this. And so now I'm spending all this time, and my entire afternoon was wasted, and it was a nice day. And if you can, the more is skills. So this is one property in the States. If I had my auto place still, and I was still kind of like living outside of it, I had my short-term rental and then my BC rental, and it's skills. I had 3 assets, and I could be a full-time job.
Yeah, and maybe the hours as well. The hours are not super predictable. If like an issue comes up, you have to sort of work on it, and you don't exactly know if you can book like a day free or something.
Right. And that's why I hire property managers, and they take a cut, but then they're incompetent. And then they use me as a blank checkbook. And so what I realized is, I mean, unless I could, scare them, if I had all this power and influence where it's like they better not fuck with me because they'll know I take them to the grindstone, or whatever the expression is, take them to the cleaner. But it seems like people try to pull their shit, and they try to take from your asset. There's so many claws in me, Richard, with the accountant, that's 4,000 Canadian a year, the lawyer.
Yeah, accountants are a lot.
And then I have to do most of the work. I can't just send them all the receipts and trust that they're going to input them all correctly. They've already fucked that up. And yet they're the best accountant for cross-border tax returns. They've already fucked it up. They forgot half my expenses. So what I'm getting at is, sure, assets can generate a passive income and blah, blah, blah. But if you're starting from scratch, it takes an entire lifetime to build it up. And I saw this, and I don't know if it was a joke, but how to build generational wealth. You acquire a bunch of properties and you leverage them to continue to expand. And as the years go on, you continue to leverage them to continue to expand. You assume more risk. You have more experts, bunny ears involved. And then you take out a life insurance policy that covers them all, and then you die. And you give it to the next generation. That is how you build generational wealth. That's what somebody, like, I saw this in the video, and I'm like, well, that's fucked. No thanks. I know what money does to people. I know how it corrupts. I've seen it countless times. Power too. Money is power.
Right. Yeah, that's true. You're not really, if you leave generational wealth, you're not really doing necessarily the next generation a favor, because giving them just money, it doesn't really help. Yeah.
They will fucking squander it, or it'll go to their head, and they'll be worse off for it. But anyway, we trade our freedom for our possessions. And the more we accumulate, the more we lose our freedom. And I've never been free. I'm scared to be free, but I'm working towards it.
Yeah, that's an interesting journey. It does feel scary, like giving anything up. It's like against our brain has, probably circuits that are like worried about giving up anything that we see as like could protect us or something. But yeah, it does make sense to try to get to a state where we don't have any dependencies. We have sort of the ability to control our own time. I actually bought 2 books. I was at like a talk yesterday, and I bought these 2 books by the same author that are one of them is called like How to Do Nothing, and the other one is called Saving Time, and they're both kind of related to like discovering a life beyond productivity culture. And then the other one, like How to Do Nothing, is about resisting the attention economy. And I guess that feels like it was more of a big thing a few years ago, like that every app wanted our attention. I feel like people are sort of learning to resist that naturally now. But I like this other subtitle of like
Not
we do
really.
have like a product. Sometimes everybody's wants to be like productive all the time or do things that are productive. But I feel like there is a way of defining our lives so that we just do what makes us happy somehow, and we don't worry about like monetizing as much or being efficient or something.
The only thing you have to do to be happy is to have gratitude for what you have. Happiness is when we stop pursuing, we stop chasing the next thing. So it's like to do something to make ourselves happy is an interesting line. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm finding this generation, the younger generation, they're glued to their phone. And adults too, people my own adults. People our own age,
Yeah.
glued to their phone.
Yeah.
Everybody wants the new shiny thing. Like I'm noticing all the iPhone Pros out there, and it's like, fuck, like, why pay that kind of money for a device? It's as much as a laptop. It's insane.
Yeah, I am. I found a good collection of podcasts now, and I've encountered like different hosts that seem to be really on the ball in terms of they're very questioning of new technology. They're very suspicious of how, our phones are like controlling us and other things, other technology is designed to take advantage of us. And I like often, there's weekly episodes for many of these podcasts, and they say a lot of things that seem on point to me. Like they're very aware of our like the war that our brains are in against technology, and just like the promise that everything will be better and easier, but in like a not a very clear way. But they can see through that pretty easily and see that like, oh, it's just companies like trying to convince us that we don't have what we want so they can sell it to us, and it's not really going to add up to being true. But then over time, like they get more and more power until like the big thing next might be, are we all going to start wearing like glasses on our face that replace our phones? Or as humanity, can we fight against that and remain in a world where we don't have like our phones shown to our eyes constantly at all times?
We'll have implants eventually.
Mm.
And we'll have VR. I think Black Mirror sums it up quite nicely. And while it can all be wonderful, it can also be very dark, very cruel. Black Mirror is incredible for that.
Yeah, Black Mirror, I wish Black Mirror would tell the story. Like in a couple of episodes, I think there's people that like resist the technology, and they always show like those people get attacked or whatever as like not adopters of the technology if they don't adopt fast enough.
Exactly.
But I feel like it seems like communities will form that are quite good, quite like valuable and close, and based around not using the like as technology progresses, there'll be more and more people that like opt out of following the trends and just continue to live as humans or something, and that may become more and more of a bonding like force in different groups, hopefully.
Hopefully. Well, you said you had 30 minutes?
Yeah, just about 30 minutes. Yeah, I'll probably head out now.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for the chat.
Yeah, thanks.
Catch you later.
Bye.